Hi, I'm Whack.
Hi, and I'm Pat. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Weekly Orbit, the week ending Friday, January 26th. It's where Wack and I will consolidate all of Rocket Pool's news for the week in about 30 minutes, and we'll give some opinion. Wack, how's your week been going?
Yeah, it's been good, thanks. I'm kind of back in the swing of things after like the holiday period, and I feel like I'm back to my own routines now and like back into a good groove with like school and everything for the kid. And the weather's been horrible, so spending lots of time inside. But other than that, it's been a good week.
That's good. I've had a good week
Mm.
as well. And this transitions right into our first news item. Node operators, we've surpassed. Well, I was, as listeners may remember, I got a Proteus made by Joe back last summer, and I've been slowly learning how to operate my own node. I've had my node running on all nodes for a couple of years,
Mhm.
and life gets in the way and things. But anyways, long story short, I finally moved everything over from all nodes to my own node on the Proteus, and when I set it up, my new node, I was number 3,499, which means we've hit a milestone. We're now over 3,500 nodes um, since the launch of Rocket Pool. I think that's a huge milestone, and so I just want to bring that up and share it with listeners that we've got a nice even number now to promote Rocket Pool, to the rest of the ecosystem. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
congratulations to you too for joining the ranks of Steak from Home gang. Like, it's really great that you're one of us now. I think staking from home is like the most exciting thing. I really love doing it,
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you're one of us. And yeah, you got to make sure that you're not using Geth. I'm just
Right.
kidding,
We'll get
but
into that
we will talk
later in
about
the
that later.
episode.
Yeah, but
But
no,
yeah, it's
the thing.
3,500. It's
Hmm.
we now, of course, we've talked about this before as well. There's not actually 3,500 um, current operators of Rocket Pool. There are people who come and go, just like I had a node on all nodes at one point, and now I have a different one. And so people come and go, they wind down. But what do you estimate is the actual amount of active uh, node operators on Rocket Pool?
Yeah, so I think stake from home, like node operators, when you discount that, that a big chunk of the node operators are using all nodes, maybe like, 15 to 30%, depending on like estimates, but somewhere around maybe 20 to 25, that could be fair. So, you take away like, six, 700 just for that. So that takes you down to 2,800, and then take away people that, who are formerly staking but are no longer staking, and maybe another like 15 or just say 20% is that as well. So that takes you down to like, 2,100. I think it may actually be a little bit higher than that. So somewhere around like 2,250, 2,300. I think is a pretty conservative number of people who are actually active stake from home users right now, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I think that's very strong. I remember looking at how Rocket Pool, if it was a layer one, how it would compare to like a validator set, a node set for other against other layer ones, and it was, I think, fourth at the time or fifth or something like that. And I think it's just as strong now, if not stronger than it was then. So it's really great achievement to have so many people on as part of Rocket Pool, and hopefully we can get that number up to like 4 or 5,000 by the end of the year. That would be amazing.
Yeah, so we're in January, maybe,
Hmm.
and if you look at the chart I just brought up on Rocket Scan, we average about 2 to 3 a day. So we could, if we've got 300 and say 30 days left, you do two a day. That's another 700 more per for the rest of the year. So that would put us over 4,000. So
Yeah,
that'd be great. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So let's move on to the price of RPL, which I have a beef with you because a couple weeks ago, Whack, you were poking fun at my prediction for 2024, which was that we would have all-time highs in RPL in U.S. dollar terms, which was $65, and you said,
Yeah.
"Well, we might hit 65 in the next couple of weeks." Well, here we are, 2 weeks later, we're at $28. So what's going on?
Okay, so I did say
Devs
might,
do
like,
something.
I did say might, and what I meant by that was like when crypto's moving, it can move really fast, right? And things can happen really quickly. And we were on an upward momentum point at that point, and like we've been through it before a few times with Rocket Pool as well. Like how the price can move really quickly. So I was just trying to say that when things get moving, it can happen quickly. I didn't say that the price would be all-time highs in 2 weeks' time. I was saying that it could be at all-time highs in 2 weeks' time, and it still could be. Like if a mega whale came in today and bought like $20 million worth of RPL on the market, then we would hit all-time highs. So yeah, no. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that when things get moving, they can happen really quickly, and I wish that we were at all-time highs right now. Sadly, we're not, but hopefully we'll be there or thereabouts soon.
Yeah. So in specifics, we started the week at the ratio was 0.0128, and
Yeah.
we are currently at 0.0128. So the price of ETH, I think last week when we were recording it, it was price of ETH was maybe around 2,400 or so. It's down now to 2,200,
Hmm.
but RPL has kind of held up in the terms of the ratio. So that's good. It shows sign of strength, even
Yeah.
though the general market was selling off a little bit.
Yeah. So in the last 2 weeks, since we recorded the episode 2 weeks ago, we've gone down 25%. And other ecosystem tokens that kind of got a bump at the same time are down by the similar amounts or even slightly bigger amounts. Like I'm thinking of the Arbitrum token, reached $2.50. Now it's $1.60. So that's a bit more than 25% drop. And a couple of the other ones have had similar slash like slightly bigger drops as well. So it was we went up really fast, and every time that happens you always think will this time be the one that you don't retrace, and that's the worry, right? Like we did retrace this time, but in the past we've seen it where we've gone up a level and then never gone back down to those numbers, and that's really rare that it happens. But when it
Mm-hmm.
does happen, then you don't want to be caught out of position. So that's why I don't trade these kind of pumps. But um, it's risky stuff, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen next with crypto.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah.
key is you'll see we'll be trading within a range for a while, and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, boom, within a
Yeah.
couple of days, it just spikes. And if you're not in, you miss out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's been a real active week. Let's get into some of the news. One thing that happened a couple of weeks ago was we had one of our execution clients, Bezu, had a little bug that seems to have been resolved. And then we had this weekend, we had a bug in Nethermind, another execution client. And so one thing a lot of people did was they joined the rescue node. And here's
Mm-hmm.
a chart showing the big spike in usage. And
Yep.
I mean, we were over 3,500 validators connected while people were trying to ascertain the issue with Nethermind and waiting for the bug fix, resyncing, all that type of stuff. So I want to give a shout out to the team that maintains the rescue node. You got Patches and a few other folks in the community. This is a real public good because not only do Rocket Pool node operators can use this, but any solo validator or solo staker can use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really great. I used it, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But yeah, this is it worked flawlessly. And now we'll talk a little bit. They're going to be changing a few things regarding Geth. But do you have any thoughts on the rescue node and how its performance has held up the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's these last couple of weeks has just really shown the value of the rescue node to the wider community, and I really think that it's been a touch point that people have used and really recommended to each other as well. We'll talk about this later as well, but like there was some fears that have kind of come up from people using the rescue node, and we'll talk about that later. But with the rescue node being there, like you could see it went up from about 50 nodes connected all the way up to like over 200 nodes connected in the matter of a few hours over the
Mm-hmm.
course of Sunday when Nethermind went down. And in terms of validator count, it was at around 400 validators, and it went all the way up to 3,500 validators, which is a whole lot of ETH that was, kept online because of the rescue node. So
Yeah.
it was really exciting that they've got this great product, and they're making even better patches, and Popash and all the others who are working on it with him, like they're doing a great job.
Yeah. And as someone who's like a normie, I'm not a technical person. Switching over to the rescue node was relatively easy. The rescue node is integrated into the smart node stack, and you just have to go to add-ins and you click enable, and then you connect and you get a username and password. You just copy and paste it in once you go to the rescue node website,
Hmm.
and then you restart your Rocket Pool service, and boom, you're connected. And then when
Yep,
you're done, you just go back in, you disable it, restart, boom, done, you're off it. And
yep.
for me, that was like, wow, this is easy. I'm really glad this is available, and I didn't have to think too hard in order to do
Hmm.
it. So, hats off to those guys. They've done a really great job.
Yeah, you can
So,
connect and disconnect within a matter of minutes. Really, it's like really
yeah,
easy to do that here.
it was really easy. So let's get into the big story of the week. And I want to talk about this a little bit more because we've all known about Geth. It's been a super majority client. And you occasionally hear folks and leaders in the community saying, hey, try not to use a super majority client because bad things could happen if there was a bug. And we've all kind of known that. But then all of a sudden this week, it's become like priority number one in the community. And this, I've got a post here by Labris, which goes. I thought this was the best read I had on the entire issue.
Yeah,
But why? Why did? Okay, well, first of all, the one thing that got me was, and I didn't know this, even though I pay attention to stuff all the time. Maybe this goes. Maybe I'm speaking for a lot of folks, where it's like I know a super majority client is bad, but I didn't realize how bad. Essentially you could lose almost everything if you're staking and there's a bug in Geth. It creates a different chain,
fork. Yep.
a fork, and then your ETH, it can't be on both forks. And then anyways, long story short is you could lose almost everything if you were on Geth at the time a bug hit. And it doesn't matter. It's different. Nethermind has a bug or Besu has a bug. They're fixed within a few hours. People resync. All you did was you lose some attestation, right? You might lose a few bucks, just a few bucks. In Geth, they fix it in a few hours. It doesn't. This is different. So could you explain why is it different? And then we'll get into how come all of a sudden everyone is aware of this. So
Yeah.
go.
Okay, so the first thing is, like you said, like if there's a bug in Geth, it'll cause a fork, right? So this is what happened with Bisu 2 weeks ago. This is what happened with Nethermind this week. Is that there was a problem at a block and the client bugged out, and it started saying that what was going on was different from what Geth and Bisu were saying this time, and what Nethermind and Geth were saying before, and what the consensus clients were saying as well at the same time. So the only thing that happened right was that you were missing attestations. Now, because you're on the minority client, and get Nethermind is about 10% of the network, Bisu is around 3 or 4% of the network. So with that in mind, you saw that the consequences weren't too bad, because your bug, you're not testing, you're not nothing's working, but the Ethereum chain is working, is carried on working that whole time. Now, if the bug was in Geth, what would happen is, because there's more than 66% of people using Geth, it would start finalizing that bug. So it would say that even though there's a bug, it'd say, hey, this is still right, and Nethermind and Bisu are wrong. So Ethereum would become that buggy chain. So people are like, hey, if there's a bug, don't worry about it. Like, we can just take it back and fix it up and stuff. But what if the bug was something like infinite mint, like in that one block, someone minted a billion or trillion or quadrillion ether, like what would that do to the network, right? Like, and could you can't just say, hey, let's just go back, because now you've got two different chains. If you try to put the Bisu and Nethermind people onto the Geth chain, then they would get slashed. And because there'd be so many of them, they could get slashed for a lot. If you tried to put the Geth people onto the Nethermind and Bisu chain, then they would get slashed, and they would get slashed for everything because it's a supermajority. So there's all these different permeations, and however you look at it, it's really bad. Like it's catastrophic.
Hmm.
Basically, this would be the worst case scenario if we had a Geth fork. And I think what happened is, with the Bisu thing, people just got a little bit of a taster of a potential problem.
Hmm.
With the Nethermind, and it was like those two tastes in 2 weeks, and they're like, whoa, like this could be really bad. And all of a sudden people started paying attention to what a Geth bug would look like and what the disastrous consequences of it would be. And with that, then people have been kind of like, the fire has been lit under their butts, and they're like leaping into action. And we've already seen that there's changes that are happening, thankfully, and people are moving away from Geth, or signaling that they'll move away from Geth in the coming days and weeks. So that's what needs to happen now. Like, we need there to not be any supermajority client anymore in the first step, and then eventually, get a much more equitable distribution of execution clients. Kind of like we have on the consensus layer.
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah,
again, on my next slide, we'll take a look at what the current makeup is uh, of the clients. So
yeah,
one thing that Labrador says here is, quote, those stakers running Geth today likely don't fully understand the risk associated with running a supermajority execution client. Many incorrectly assume that in the event of a bug, a patch will be released in a few hours and it'll solve the issue, losing very, very little ETH in the process. Many are not aware of the risk of attesting an invalid block, which locks you into the invalid finalized chain, all but guaranteeing a majority of your ETH being burned. This is a
yeah,
real risk that has the potential to materialize. So when I read that, I was like, holy cow, I didn't realize that. I thought, oh, well, it'll be a little bug, we'll be offline for a day, and then next day we resync and we're fine. Not if it's got, not if you're over
yeah,
66%. If the client you're using is more than 66% of the chain, that's not the issue. We got away,
yeah,
you get away with it if you're a minority client like Besu or Nethermind, where you're less than, you're like 10%, but
yeah,
not if you're over 66, which that's what Geth is. So bottom line, if you're on Geth, you better get off it because just for your own
yeah.
safety. Okay.
Hmm.
And I know in your show you've been begging people to do that, and I know Anthony Sassano he's been also saying that, but it's real risk, folks. If there's a bug tomorrow, you're screwed. Actually, the
Hmm.
entire net it would be a just giant shit show,
Yeah,
for lack of a better term.
yeah.
Because then we'd be talking about maybe doing a rollback, but it would be a giant
social
mess.
social consensus would be impossible to get to. Like, we
Yeah,
would literally end up with two Ethereum chains, and one would be the bad chain, one would be like the good chain, but both of them would be bad, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
there's no good outcome of this. Like, even the most mild outcome is still disastrous.
It would be disastrous.
Yeah.
Here's a quick question. Now, Bitcoin, as far as I understand, they have basically just one client,
Hmm.
and they've had a couple back in 2010 and 2013. They had a bug in the client, and they had to do a couple rollbacks.
Hmm.
If that were, I mean, they have the same risk. Am I correct on that, or is
Yeah.
it
So
different because it's
they have a different like philosophy to client diversity, and like that's fine. Like, they have this idea that you just have one client, and if something goes wrong with it, it's easier to kind of like wrangle into the position. But because they make changes so infrequently, the chance of something wrong happening are, they argue, much less, right? Because this like fortified and battle tested and all that stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. With Ethereum, the philosophy to clients is different. Like, we have this client diversity thing where we want there to be different clients. We want that liveness. We don't want Ethereum to go down, like, ever.
right?
And with having a bug in one client would mean that we'd be able to carry on provided none of them were at, majority, supermajority, like, even above 33% ideally. And then I think that's what's going to happen, right? There's a few, there's like, we've got six consensus clients, and Prism and Lighthouse are still a little bit overrepresented, but, not so much so that it'd be a disaster if anything happened there. And then we've got like Teku and Nimbus and now Lodestar as well. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
we really need Aragon and Wrath on the execution side to get better, more robust. And then people can start using them for staking as well. And then once we have five clients on the execution side, we'll be in a position where we can get a much better distribution of people using those clients, which means that even if there is a bug, then Ethereum would keep on going. We wouldn't need to do any kind of like rollback or fork or anything like that. It would just work.
Yep. So
Yeah.
on to our chart with where are we with the distribution. So at the beginning of the week, we were at 84% Geth, and just based on clientdiversity.org, in just a couple few days, it's changed to 79%. So that's pretty good. A 5% drop in just a few days. Nethermind's at 14%, Bezu 4%, Aragon 2%. But we're still we're still danger zone. We're in the
Yeah.
red. There's been talk. I know Coinbase has said that they're seriously looking into it. They'll have a report by the end of February. They're a large organization. They're slow. I know Allnodes they've indicated that they're going to be switching over
No, they
soon.
switched. They
Oh,
moved to
they have
Besu.
already switched.
They did it today. Yeah.
Oh, they did today
Which
because
is,
I saw a
mhm.
couple days ago they were like, "Yep, we're going to do it," and then but already, so that's
They
good.
did it. Yeah, wonderful. It just tells you how easy it is, right? Like it's literally so easy to do. And these guys are like, we're gonna analyze, blah blah blah. Like
Yeah,
it's
I know they
like
got to run it through four committees, and
it's not
Joe's on
necessary.
vacation this
Yeah,
week. When he gets back, we'll get together.
yeah,
But it's really dangerous, and just cross your fingers that
yeah.
nothing happens. And
Mm,
Geth has been a great client. I mean, that's why they've been around the longest. They have a
mm.
great product, and it's nothing against Geth. Geth is good.
No, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about a couple fun educational things. Well, no, before we get to that. So we're, was it 1 or 2 weeks into this where the Rocket Pool handle on Twitter was hacked,
Mm,
and the team still doesn't have control of it. However, as blueavm.eth points out, hey, I don't see any spam anymore. And when you go to the Rocket Pool Twitter page, does the team have it? Has it been rescued? And Maverick says it's still a bit of work in progress, but progress is indeed being made. So it sounds like they've been in touch with the Rocket Pool or Twitter support.
mhm.
Perhaps we'll have the Rocket Pool handle back this week. I mean, I don't know. It's just, Twitter's
I
kind
hope
of
so. Yeah,
there's a total mess.
it
But
is. Yeah.
I want to bring that up because if you're on Twitter, be very careful. Click on links,
Mhm.
and especially Rocket Pool at this time because it's still compromised as far
Yep.
as we know.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's the thing. Like, you do, like we talked about this a few weeks ago, right? Like, just be careful clicking any links at all. Like, just be hyper vigilant. And even if the team gets the account back, just in general, like your default position should have shifted now to one of suspicion instead of one of trust, and
Yep.
that is the better place to be, I think. Like with the way that there's so many scams around. So yeah, hopefully there's no fake airdrops or any of that kind of stuff on the Rocket Pool Twitter, which is good. But hopefully, the team can get control of that soon, and then we'll see a postmortem about what happened and how it was all fixed and stuff. And
Right.
hopefully, it'll be the end of that.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm on Twitter, whack about every other ad is a fake airdrop
Hmm.
scam. I'm not
Yep.
even kidding. It's got to be
Yep.
50%. And I know this
More than that.
because
Yeah.
when you see like, oh, click here for your Arbitrum airdrop. And it's like, well, Arbitrum had an airdrop like a year ago, over a year ago. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
be very careful. Do not click on this stuff if you're uncertain. There's go into Discord and ask, or I know on the Daily Quay, there's an airdrop channel on the Daily Quay,
Hmm.
which is Anthony Sassano's Discord, where active airdrop folks are. That's all they do all day is they're doing airdrops. So if you're wondering, is this real? Just go there and ask, and they'll tell you. So just be very careful, guys, because we don't blow yourself up. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
Okay, so we had two great things that came out of the educational corner. One is from SheNodes, Rocket Pool Node Setup. This is a novice guide. This was a grant that was offered through the GMC, and I watched this, and it was really excellent. We got 4 episodes that walks you through setting up your own node. And as somebody who recently did that, I can really appreciate the time and effort that went into this. So, do you have any thoughts on this great little feature?
Yeah, it was nice that we got this was done, and it's a great service to people like you, who want to become node operators, but there's some barrier in place. Like, you watch the episodes, you go through it step by step, you see what needs to be done, what's happening at each stage, and then you can become a node operator. Like, it's really like concise and really nicely explained tutorials, and it's 45 minutes in total across the 4 videos, so you can watch them really easily, and then you're all set. How much did you actually like follow along with these compared to the docs, the official docs, to get
Well,
everything
I
done?
kind of laughed. I said, "Well, I wish this was available when I actually did it."
Mm,
Um, I had set mine up. My Proteus has been running for since I want to say early December. So I
mm,
had it set up back then, but it's just a matter of then exiting all nodes and then waiting for gas to go down to a point where it's like, this makes sense. And then, then the holidays are in there, and then, I'm too busy. I got to find time to sit down and do this. So I actually had mine set up, but this would have been very helpful had I had this back in November. Now the
mm.
Rocket Pool docs are excellent, but to have this visual to walk you through as well is just a really nice feature that I probably would have been helpful uh, for me when I had done it.
Yeah.
I think for personal experience, my biggest problem was the networking issue. I had my I had I have my internet through a relatively new company that it's all fiber and it's excellent service. But what I learned was the IP address. Most of these new companies, they hide it,
Mm,
so it's behind a. And sorry if I'm not technical. I'm not saying this in the most technical terms, but the node, it's got to be public, the IP facing, because you're connecting with other people's nodes, and the way they're running out of IP addresses. So most companies now don't give you a public IP. It's done behind like a wall. And I didn't know that. So bottom line is I have to get a static IP address that I pay extra for, that they assign me one. So now I have, it's public facing and it'll interact with other nodes. That was probably the hardest thing for me, because I didn't
mm.
understand what the hell was going on. How come my nothing was working right
Yeah.
until I went to Discord, and some excellent community members helped me out.
Wonderful. Yeah, that support channel is like top notch.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. The second educational thing we had this week was the Rockapole University went online. This is Dr. Doofus, I believe, and I have
Hmm.
not taken this course yet, but this is cool. I plan to do that. If you pass the course or you take it, you'll end up getting a POAP,
Hmm.
and um, this is good for anyone who's looking to learn more about Rockapole and maybe you want to test your knowledge. And I think this was done through the GMC as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the GMC funded this. Dr. Doofus put an application for Rocket Pool University, and it was approved. And now we have this course that's running, and it's working really nicely. So you can you can check it out and get some good stuff from it. And I actually was one of the beta testers for the platform, and it worked really nicely. And I was able to actually pass the course without doing any of the studying just because
Oh
of the
yeah,
knowledge that I have about rocket pool. There were a couple of things where I had to like go and check the information, but other than that, I was able to just like do it. So I you should hope so, right? Like I was able to
yeah,
just do it.
yeah,
But a lot of people in the Discord was taking this yesterday because Dr. Dupe was like, "Hey, look, it's available now," and I covered it on the show yesterday as well. But it's a really
yeah.
nice little tool, and you get a POAP. But it's a nice way to like get information on what Rocket Pool is, how Rocket Pool works, what the history of it is, how it fits with Ethereum, and what the protocol does, and then you got a POAP. Like everyone loves POAPs, so
Yeah.
I really enjoyed taking the course, and I think I got through the whole thing in less than an hour, maybe half an hour. I think because I just answered the questions. I failed. There's 9 quizzes or 10 quizzes, I think, and I failed one of them, I think, or maybe two of them, and I just had to like go back, and the pass mark was 70%, and I got a couple of questions wrong. Like there's
Mhm.
questions where it's like, what is the contract address for such and such, and I'm like, oh yeah, wait, what is the contract address? So those are the kind of things that you get wrong because you don't have it memorized necessarily.
Right.
But
Right.
it was really fun, and it's a really nice little tool. And I think the next steps for this are now building a new front end for the work that Dr. Doofus did, like get it really nicely polished and
Mhm.
make it like really beautiful to use. But he did some really good stuff, like the content, the wallet integration is great, and then it's like the framework is all there now, so people who want to add new courses will be able to
Mhm.
like just kind of plug and play. So it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, and I like the idea of not only this, but the prior slide where we had the educational videos on setting up a node. As the bull market starts, as we get into it, you have more normal people coming in looking
Mhm.
to find, what is Rocket Pool, and having this ready to go for them is
Yeah,
really important because we want to onboard, new people this cycle, and these things go a long way. I'm really a fan of it.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's get to our wins for the week. Whack.
Yeah, one of my wins this week is, wait, hold on a second, I totally lost my win of the week.
You want me to
What
go
was
with
it?
mine?
Yeah, just give me a second. I should have written it down. Oh yeah, go ahead. You start with yours, and then we'll come back to me.
Yeah, my win is so I had last summer when I got the Proteus, Joe recommended using Geth, and because at the time the Nethermind and the other, I think basically wouldn't work very well on a low power device like the Proteus, and but I set up with Geth, and then all this stuff happened the last couple of weeks, and I touched base with Joe, and I said, Joe, can will Nethermind or Besu work? And he's like, yes, Nethermind will work because since last summer, Nethermind's made some progress on their efficiency. So my win is the Rocket Pool Rescue node that we talked about earlier that I was able to use so easily. It's a big win for the community. It's a big win for Ethereum, and I'm really happy with the experience I had with it. So hats off to you guys who maintain it. Thank you. How about
Yeah,
your win?
and my win's kind of related to that as well. My win is about just how quickly people figured out just how bad the situation with the supermajority is. I feel like people have been talking about this for multiple years now, and there was good progress made on the consensus side, but the execution side there was just no uptake on people moving, and we've kind of been frozen at these levels of like supermajority for quite a while. And I know that we needed a bit of a kick for it to happen, but people have responded so quickly to the issues, and everyone's making statements about how they're like looking to move. And the greatest thing that made me so happy was all nodes have already moved, and they're literally running thousands of validators, which is fantastic. And these are the kind of things that I'm really happy about, and I think was actually a big win this week. Is that we had some network issues, which is we can't avoid that, but the consequence of it has been like really strong and really good, and that's the best you can hope for. Like getting something really good out of something bad happening is a
Yeah,
huge win, I think. Yeah,
yeah, and especially that hopefully we dodged a bullet. Where we had a bug with Nethermind, had a bug with Besu. We didn't have the bug with Geth, and
yeah,
it was like, oh, guys, we just we dodged the bullet, but now
hmm
let's take this opportunity to fix it, so we will have better network health, and we won't have to worry about. Oh my God, dude! Can you imagine if there was a bug in Geth and it was super majority? just the to be people saying, "Oh well, we can't allow all these, we can't allow 20 million ETH being burned, and we're going to have to roll it back." And then people, imagine that social. Oh, I don't even know.
It,
It would just
it
be
would be
such a
really bad.
mess, and
Yep.
basically half my life savings would be gone, or
Yep.
just so many people would be wrecked. And
Yep.
would Ethereum recover? It might take years to recover. It would
Mhm.
be such a shit show
Yep.
that, oh my gosh. So yeah, it hit me right smack in the face this week, and it sounds like it hit a lot of people too. And so
Yeah.
I think we'll get there. I think we'll get under 66% relatively
Yeah.
soon. Hopefully next month. We'll
Yeah. I
see.
hope so. I was going to say the
Yeah.
next 2 weeks, but maybe it might take a bit longer than that. Yeah.
Well, when I read that thing from if Coinbase moved that just themselves, they would put
Hmm.
us under 66 because they got
Yeah.
I mean, they got what, 15% of the stake.
15%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they said we're moving to Besu or Nethermine or both,
Hmm.
that would probably get us below 66.
I
Just
think
then.
that's the safest option right now. Is that you set your primary as Nethermind or Bisu, and then your backup as Nethermind or Bisu. Because if there's a bug in both Nethermind and Geth, then you might go to Geth as your fallback, and then you might attest to a bad chain, and then get slammed like that. And until we get Geth down to 40-50%, there's no point in taking a risk on having any like touching Geth at all, basically. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Even if your backup, and I meant to say this. So Rescue Node was running on Geth, and then
Mm-hmm.
Patches, he put together a post where he said, hey, it just occurred to us that if you were on, say you were on Nethermind
Yep.
and there would seem to be some problem with the network. So you said, you know what? I wonder if there's a problem with Nethermind. I'm going to switch to the rescue node and go on Geth. And then you realize, because in the haze of war, the fog of
Mm-hmm.
war, you're not sure what's happening at first. You don't know where the
Yep.
bug is. And then all of a sudden you go to the rescue node. I'm going to be safe on the rescue node until this is all resolved. Well, then you find out, holy cow, it was on Geth. And now I'm on Geth. You just screwed
Yep.
yourself. So
Yep.
Patches, they
And
realize that, like, well, we got to get the rescue node off of
yeah.
Geth and be a minority
Yeah.
client.
And Patches realized that it could have been $250 million of slashings because of people jumping on the rescue node so quickly. So yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be terrible. I mean, imagine how bad you would feel as Patches or the team. Like, oh my gosh, we just screwed all these people. They were coming here for a rescue, and we
A
destroyed
quarter
them.
of $1 billion, yeah, $250 million.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So
yeah.
I hope we've covered that, and I know you've
Yeah.
covered it, and you're like, please,
Yep.
please, please. You're famous. Please, please,
Yep.
please.
Yes.
Get off Geth. It's
Yes.
dangerous. It is.
Yes.
It's a great product, but right now
Yep.
it's too dangerous to be on.
Yep.
And save
Yep.
yourself. It took me about total of about, I don't know. It took a day to switch over.
Yeah, but the active time was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, oh yeah, the time for
the
you
the
you're
active
doing.
time is so
Yeah,
easy because
yeah,
you send a message, so you get the rescue node credential, then you go to the rescue node, you paste it in there, they give you username and password, you go to the terminal user interface, you go to the add-on for the rescue node, you put in your credentials, you restart, you resync, you change your execution layer client, you resync it, and that's it. Like, it takes 10 minutes on that side,
yeah,
and then maybe it takes 5 minutes to come off the rescue node, like 24 hours later. Like, it's very,
right.
very easy process,
Yeah,
and and you don't miss any attestations in the whole process. Like, you can do it without missing anything, which is wonderful. So there's no
right.
excuse. If you are on Geth, please, please, please get off Geth. Just go onto Bisu and Nethermind, and it'll be a much better situation.
Yeah, and then last,
Yeah.
finally, on my, if you're doing Nethermind, one thing, I think the smart node, it's reading. I'm not sure if it's Nethermind or if it's a smart node, but it'll say when you're syncing, it'll say you're at 99.99% after maybe 5 hours or something, and it'll sit there for another. It took about, I don't know, maybe 15 hours for me, because it's that 99.9 is not correct. So don't think after, oh man, holy cow, this syncs so quickly. No, it actually
Yeah.
didn't. So
Yeah.
don't panic if you're sitting at 99.9% for several hours. That's normal. It took about 15 hours or so for it to totally resync. And then
Yeah.
boom, it was synced. It was good. I then removed myself from the rescue node, like you said, in less than 5 minutes, and
Yep.
I was back to doing what I was. The node was working perfectly. So
Wonderful.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate. We're not giving you financial advice. We are giving you client diversity advice, though. I will say
Yep.
that. Definitely do that. You can take that to the
Yeah.
bank. You'll save yourself if something happened that would be completely awful. You won't be on
Absolutely.
the bad end of it.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Pat.
Okay. We'll see you next week, Whack.
Bye.
Bye.